Blessings everyone, it's time for another installment of New Light Astrology, and in this video we're going to be talking about over a week of content because, well, I did not actually get one up this last week, and I apologize for that. I actually got very, very busy. I also came down with a day cold, and so now we are back and ready to go. So this video is going to cover a lot of the remainder of this week, the week of the 1st, because if you were at the Patreon Live where I break it down for all of the signs, you'll recall I was mentioning anyway that a lot of this action this week wasn't occurring until we got to Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then of course leading into a very busy week. But I do want to also make sure that we talk about Venus in Aquarius, which she entered back on Monday the 1st, and also talk a bit about how Mercury Retrograde is affecting everyone. Remember, these are general discussions. We are talking about collective energies and what is getting downloaded into the collective, and a lot of this stuff that's going on now through the 11th is going to basically be setting the tone for the vast majority of the remainder of not only the season, but even going into August, early August. And so just keep that in mind, that while these energies are really picking up their speed and picking up their boosts, now we're going to be working with them for quite some time in the best of ways. I also want to remind everyone that if you're interested in getting a session with me, you can go on ahead to my website, integrativemysticism.com, and if you are interested in that Patreon, again, follow the links down below. Fridays, 4 p.m. Pacific Time, US and Canada. It's where I go long form and I break it down for the signs each, okay? You can ask questions, it's all kinds of fun. Also, don't forget, horoscopes are still up because we are on a bi-weekly system. So if you are curious about what is going on with the rest of this week and going into the week of the 8th, I've actually put up videos where I do 2 tarot spreads for each sign. You might want to go check that out. And don't forget to check out your rising and moon signs as well. So let's talk a little bit about, what was going on with the week of the 1st, as in what was happening on Monday with Venus going into Aquarius, as well as Venus being the star of the show Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, where she's going to be conjunct Saturn in Aquarius. She's going to be square Uranus from Aquarius to Taurus. She's going to be sextile Chiron from Aquarius to Aries. And then we've also got the Sun trine the North Node on Saturday, all the while Mercury Retrograde is doing his thing. So Venus in Aquarius is all about that generous, supportive, loving, magnetic, divine ascended feminine going to work, attracting resources, abundance, love, connections into areas where we are breaking molds and breaking ground. The celebration of gifts, the celebration and receiving of gifts. So when I say celebration of gifts, we're talking about unique talents, unique abilities, things coming through to bolster, empower, fortify, and develop your abilities, whether they are, physical abilities or even spiritual abilities, because Aquarius is also a highly spiritual, higher level intelligence energy, higher level intelligence sign. But we're also seeing the gifts and the attraction and the magnetic of what is resonating with the true core authentic self. Now, this is actually the theme of the 2021 beginning, because we are getting away, right, from a lot of collective thought forms, groupthink, or any kind of ego forms or emotional forms or crowd forms that, used to be the way, people might get kind of stuck in a journey, stuck in a narrative, stuck in a process that really had nothing to do with their own conscious evolution process. With Venus entering Aquarius, we are also seeing that those that are ahead, those are cutting edge, those that are working from that pure, authentic, right, core self-realized heart are actually starting to attract right now and get closer to the same in not only others in terms of relationships, but others in terms of prospects, new journeys, new jobs, right? Venus is all around. Generous on the physical, generous on the relational. And so it's important to pay attention to where certain things where you step into your unique expression, you step into your unique approach, your unique expression of mastery, you are actually getting the breaks and the breakthroughs. On a higher level, on a higher spiritual level, you are tapping in to your own infinite source, your own higher self, multidimensional self, your I am presence. And as we talked about in another video we did on the live and the last talk about the evolving field, right? The higher self is connecting and making, connections with other higher selves of those that are also doing the same. We also have Mercury Retrograde, right? And this is going to be something that we're dealing with, for a few more weeks until the end of the month. There's a lot of energy going towards pulling apart veils, pulling apart maybe things that could be held up that are contrived. You're going to be seeing this happen with, again, teammates, work crews, maybe people in your life that have been not necessarily been living as authentically or honestly with you or emoting in that way. You may be finding it in yourself. Venus is making it easier for people who maybe did that on accident, or for people who maybe didn't know any other way. Let's not forget that a lot of modern society was encouraged and conditioned to get to know patterns, strategies, routines, and protocol as opposed to get to know oneself and the true self. So give what you can when it comes to patience and understanding. Look at these things with objectivity and, of course, that divine neutrality, but also at the same time, don't ignore the truths that are coming out. And please, if it's your own truth that has to come out, own your part in creating a veil. Don't try and create it again. Don't try and just create it in another fabric or in another color. Just allow Venus to, of course, also bring that incentive for the clearing. Because we've actually got on Saturday, Venus conjunct Saturn, gifts and grants coming through for those that are ditching their veils, for those that are quitting the living of lies or the living of performances, right? You don't have to get punished. In fact, you're going to be getting kind of a nice boost, a nice level up, a nice care package for your new journey. So if there are things going on where you've been afraid to walk out of a certain situation or say goodbye to a certain false self or say goodbye to a certain false alliance or friendship or whatever that is going on, Venus conjunct Saturn is allowing for everyone to walk away feeling better for it, including those or that which you may be also deciding to make your departure from. These gifts and grants are also coming from the higher levels as, of course, a boon to support everyone getting on their true journey, right? The higher self's priority, the soul's true journey that is coming up and really becoming much more clear, I think, especially as we go through this weekend and into next week. When we talk about gifts and grants, however, remember, these are like grants. You have to apply them to what you are being given them to do, whether it is leave a false paradigm, leave a false situation, leave a false identity, or begin working on your true self, begin working on your higher self's priority, your highest trajectory, your true soul's journey, whether it comes in the form of support, right, fellowship, love, resources, it's there for that. We also have the Sun trine the North Node, so roadmaps are becoming clearer during this time. The Sun is in Aquarius, right? Of course, healing and encouraging the emergence of the true self. And then we have the North Node, our our spiritual direction, I guess you could say, our biggest challenges, biggest rewards, but also our spiritual direction, giving us this opportunity to see not only what our highest trajectory is, but how we actually navigate the 2021 experience. What is our through line, right? When we talk about our through line, we used to talk about that quite a bit, right? With the incoming waves last year. It's the main plot. It's the main soul's agreement for incarnating in the first place. And there's a through line through your entire life. But each, era, each epoch of your life, each stage of your journey has its own line. It's like choosing the highway, riding the trail. We're seeing a lot of this show up and be presented. And with the Sun trine the North Node, yes, this is going to be a great deal of 2021's main journey, main line, main goals, highest trajectories getting illuminated for you. It may be that this through line itself runs through the entire year, or this is again kind of taking us at least through August. It all depends on what's going on, with again your own personal journey. We've also got Venus square Uranus going on as well. And Venus square Uranus, remember Uranus is in Taurus, breaking apart patterns, structures, protocols, routines. Which again can feel very liberating for those who are already kind of at that point where they just don't utilize those things. But for some, it might feel like, you're knocking out a support beam from under them. Venus is, when she squares Uranus, going to be bringing alternatives to staples that you already are too attached to, that you also maybe deep down know, or maybe you've been getting symbols, you've been getting signs, synchronicities that it's time to leave, or it's time to walk away from, or start doing something else. Venus square Uranus, love and abundance in exchange for deviation. All right, now in this case, it's not always having to do with what's false or what's fake. Venus square Uranus is just saying, look, where are you maybe not going your own way? Or maybe where are you holding on to something for a sense of security that is too old, that we might over-identify with, even if it's true, we identified with it and it was true for us once upon a time. Deviation from the old model, deviation from the old process. Venus, easy escape. We also have Venus sextile Chiron. Okay, this is happening with Chiron and Aries. Chiron in Aries for the last couple of years has been working so diligently on healing the wounds that have essentially blocked a person from being able to get in touch with their true self. And Chiron's pointing out everybody's weaknesses when it comes to, where the ego or where the emotions or the subconscious are precluding an understanding of who you truly are. And with Venus sextile Chiron, there's a healing of that which, could be there. Maybe it was fresh, maybe it was festering. Venus is bringing in the healing that's also going to bring reconciliation with the true self connection. Because with Venus sextile Chiron, it's about being comfortable, but not only comfortable or empowered, but also activating aspects of yourself, again, talents, abilities, as well as divine connections that you are already waiting to get in alignment with. I was talking with a friend of mine this last week, and we were talking about compartmentalization of self, or denial of self. Every aspect of your true self that you are maybe blocking or compartmentalizing, you're not assessing, whether you're, choosing to not work with it, right? Letting a talent just kind of sit there, keeping something in the closet, or you're not allowing yourself to call yourself something because, well, I'm not a musician until I've actually had, I got a record label, or I'm not a writer until I've been published. Every single bit of that kind of mind warping that people can do to themselves blocks off a divine spiritual connection. You can call it divine guidance, a divine aspect of yourself is more accurate, but that you are already having in weight, right? Your whole divine support system, your whole divine extension of self, your multidimensional expanse, when you say, I'm not this because this, or I'm not this because I don't want to confront that, or I'm not this, or I don't have this, or I can't do this, you're starting to shut down your divine aspects. You're telling them to wait outside. It's like telling spirit guides, thank you. It's like telling your divine support teams of a certain maybe department that they're just not going to be able to come in and assist you. Allow yourself to be healed by these energies and start reconciling these fractures that are, needing to come back to be whole throughout the course of Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. And Venus is doing this with Saturn, with the North Node, with Uranus, with Chiron. Saturday mostly, Sunday and Monday. Now as we transition to Monday, we've got the Sun conjunct Mercury retrograde in Aquarius. And there's going to be, again, a revelation of secrets that is most likely going to actually be returning something to be healed, to be recovered, setting not only records straight, but in a positive and a peaceful way. Okay, because with the Sun conjunct Mercury retrograde, it's not going to be drama, right? The Sun conjunct Mercury retrograde is basically saying, hey, this is an opportunity to start reversing something that may have been built or may have been created the wrong way and get something back on track. We're revealing a secret, as in revealing an answer, revealing something that maybe we need to have a better relationship with by seeing how something was supposed to go or how something was supposed to be worked on. We also have Saturn sextile Chiron on the 9th, Tuesday. Clearing of distortion of the self. Clearing of things that may actually have been embodied by you or by the collective when it comes to external influences, whether you're embodying another person's anger or embodying another person's sadness. This is going to be a big deal for empaths as well, because this is also going to allow everyone to start dipping into that empathic tracing and that empathic recollection that we talked about last year. For those of you who are, watching the incoming waves, we talked about the ability to trace an emotion, a thought form, an energy form back to where it's from so that you can have context, right? Is this something I'm feeling? Or, as I do the tracing, as I go into that, and maybe we'll do an exercise video on that a little later, or is this something I picked up from boyfriend or mom or boss or neighbor, sister, you get it. The Saturn sextile Chiron, we are clearing of distortion when it comes to the idea of not only ownership, but distortions of the spirit, as well as the clearing of false self that may actually have been created or scarred around something that was imprinted onto us. And this could go back to childhood for a lot of people. Saturn sextile Chiron is going to be at work for a long time. Well, not a long time. It's basically the 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th in its prime. So that's a big background energy to consider as we proceed. Saturn sextile Chiron is also going to clear a lot of rose-colored glasses and kind of help us to see things for how they really are, especially where there may be some bias, some preferential treatment, and also put us through a bit of a process check, right? Which we all need to do every once in a while. This might be the first process check people have done in a long time, or the first one they've done ever in this lifetime. Some people might just be doing a process check of, the last year and go, how'd you do? How did you do? Because with Saturn sextile Chiron, you're going to also see where maybe some things that you have taken on, embodied, or agreed to live that were imprinted or imparted upon you are actually maybe not taking you down a road you want, right? Now that we have this roadmap, now that we understand where the highest stuff could be, where the best outcomes could be for the vast majority of 2021, Saturn sextile Chiron, we have to also, of course, take the medicine and go, oh wow, so this is where it's at, this is where it's not. You know, this is where it's at. That means that this person, this thing, this personality trait, this distortion that I'm carrying, or maybe this group or this idea or this philosophy or this way of life that I keep making excuses for is ineligible. At some point I go down that road, it's going to get sifted out, or I won't be able to go any further. At least with that clarity, right, the discernment is available. So we're seeing a lot of people, even people who are not exactly awake yet, start to have opportunities to not only catch up, but start actually making decisions according to the higher perspective. Now the 10th, Wednesday, is probably going to be one of the iffier days of next week, just because we've got Mercury Retrograde square Mars in Taurus. And so we have that energy of Mercury Retrograde uncovering, reviewing, revealing. But with Mars in Taurus, there could be a clash, especially when it comes to the fact that Mars is the energy of problem solving. So a disagreement on how to solve a problem, or quite possibly a resistance to revelation. Confessions come out, but refusals to change in some people, refusals to grow. Mars is the divine ascended masculine working over Taurus, right? Trying to teach everybody better ways to solve their problems, better ways to set up their abundance, better ways to create harmony, passion, as well as function in relationships. But with Mercury retrograde square to Mars, what can happen is we may actually find with certain people, certain processes, certain teams, whatever, there are some folks that are very much aware that what they're doing is dysfunctional, and they might not necessarily be ready to take a dip into functional, right? You've all heard the old saying, when you introduce a dysfunctional thing into a functional situation, the dysfunction kind of freaks out, right? It kind of goes, oh my God, what do I do? And with Mercury retrograde square to Mars, we may have to confront the truths about certain situations that are not actually going to get fixed right now. Things that may not necessarily be ready to step up with us, especially when it comes to areas of, well, the Taurus rulership, again, prosperity, the home, the family, health, even love. You know, especially on the family front, on the household front, Mercury retrograde square to Mars, we may be finding that, yes, there are people who may be willingly celebrating, right? Or maybe not celebrate, well, some celebrating, but sort of just owning their part in co-creating dysfunction, or maybe, you know, trying to constantly litigate for a dysfunctional life, in favor for a dysfunctional life. And those confessions may come out. But, you know, as much as that might be weird to experience, it's also going to at least give everyone an understanding of what they're working with. This person or this situation now has revealed itself to be willfully and knowingly trying to pass for healthy rather than be healthy, trying to pass for functional as opposed to be functional. And so we have to look and see, okay, is this sort of like a family thing that has been sort of instilled that needs to be cleared? Is this a business policy? Is it a relationship ethic? What is going on? You know, and with Mercury retrograde in Aquarius, right, it's kind of hitting all around, so it may show up in different areas, you know, maybe a couple of times, but everyone at the end of it will know where everyone stands, and that's really the point of it all, the revelation there. And then people can really make informed decisions about their alliances, their choices, and seeing who they are, but also seeing what they are dealing with, and make, of course, the higher choice. Finally, because we're going to talk about the new moon, of course, in its own video as we get closer to next week, we got Venus conjunct Jupiter on the 11th. And this is the gift. This is one of the best aspects one could have. It happens once a year, usually. And this is where we actually see, with Venus conjunct Jupiter in Aquarius, unity. Love, unity, and abundance all coming together. Jupiter, remember, amplifies. It's another aspect of the divine ascended masculine. It's the cultivator. So it creates and cultivates and amplifies and provides for whatever it is in and whatever it's touching. Venus, love, connectivity, pleasure, as well as friendship, romance, all of those things. So with Venus conjunct Jupiter, you are also going to be finding that the ideal community, the ideal conditions, the ideal atmosphere be put on the offering table for us. Now with Venus conjunct Jupiter, what this gift is and does is it's usually something that shows up and then is, again, around constantly throughout the course of the year following. Remember what we said in the beginning of this video. We're talking about a lot of this stuff is going to be with us for the majority of 2021. You know, a lot of it most likely is going to, show up by the time we get to August. But with Venus conjunct Jupiter, this is a breakthrough opportunity. And because it's in Aquarius, it's a breakthrough opportunity that's giving people an opportunity to break with a constant in their life that is no longer applicable to the highest interest of all concerned. So whether it is a big gift in terms of, the money, the job, again, the social connections that are going to help you make that happen, the territory, the opportunity, when it comes to maybe an opening of some kind, a road opening up, new tools, new resources with which to put to work. That, of course, remains to be seen what's going on in your personal journey, but a powerful breakthrough, so long as you're committed to expanding your horizons and getting out of your own bubble and your own box. So that's what I've got for y'all. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate it. Once again, we do these talks about the signs live on my Patreon on Fridays at 4 p.m. Pacific Time, US and Canada, and you can follow the links below for more details there. And if you ever want to get a session with me, go on ahead to my website. It's integrativemysticism.com.